I'm Albert Maysles, and I've been making documentary films for 50 years. I started up what is now a flourishing documentary center, which includes teaching documentary, showing documentaries. We're true believers in this particular form of filmmaking.
Welcome to the Maysles Documentary Center. The center was started in 2005 by Albert Maysles and his wife, Jillian Walker. We are a nonprofit. Generally, when we're not in the virtual world, we're located in Harlem. We're dedicated to the teaching of documentary filmmaking and exhibiting of documentary films.
2004, 2005, my parents had been living on the Upper West Side since the 60s. So they were like, we want to change. They decided that they really wanted to move to Harlem.
Albert always felt like Harlem was one of the last places that people would talk to you on the street, that you could just strike up a conversation.
There was a lot of intent in moving here. They liked the neighborhood, and it's amazing culture, amazing people. And also there were no cinemas uptown, and so they wanted to create a space where people could come and watch movies and hang out and talk.
My father thought, like, if I'm going to live in Harlem and I'm going to be in Harlem, I need to give back. They bought the building that Maysles Cinema is in. So initially it was just an upstairs and a downstairs, and the upstairs was to show stuff, and the downstairs was like a kind of space for events or a space for classes. This was kind of, in my mind, like my dad's second part of his life. It became more difficult for him to film as he was getting older. I think he was shooting less, and he was interested in film and interested in supporting people. So when he moved to Harlem and when they opened the theater, he was super involved in it. He either participated in a Q&A if it made sense, or he would film it. Maysles Documentary Center really did start kind of as a family idea, and then kind of branching out into the people that we knew. Laura Lyle, she was one of the early programmers, and she was wonderful.
Around 2007, 2008, the only places that were showing documentary films in Harlem were really the libraries. I was really very much trying to provide something different for the community that was already here. People had just a very limited idea about what people in Harlem wanted to watch. People attach a lot of stuff to class and money and all this stuff, and it's nonsense, because I really found if you get them in the seats, they'll be engaged.
Let's talk about the movie we just saw.
I would say the early programmers, like Jessica Green and my brother Philip Maysles, they really were very thoughtful about the power of film and the power of discussion and the history of Harlem.
I consider myself now a cultural anthropologist, so I primarily try to shoot Black culture, not exclusively, but as much as I can.
The programmers really worked on kind of making these things that were really special. Sometimes you would leave and you would think, what did I just experience?
I wrote a blog once that compared the Bills, mother and daughter, to gay men and to African Americans. You might say, well, why, how? It's because, when you're gay and when you're Black, you have no choice sooner or later but to take the unfair lot that life has dealt you and to make the best of it.
You can see these films at home, but the kind of things that happen can only happen here.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Instant Ancestry, Home and History through the Black Archive. It's a brand new program of experimental documentary short films by Black filmmakers that upend identity and perception.
What was really important to us, and is always important, is community partnerships. A lot of stuff with DJs and a lot of stuff with performers. In the summertime, we have screenings in different parks in Harlem. Marcus Garvey, St. Nick Park, Morningside Park.
We're going to show this film, We Like It Like That. It's about the history of boogaloo music from the Bronx.
I think what we really do is that we make New York moments for people, things that could only happen here in this city, in this place.
Curating means give birth to wellness, give birth to health. It's sort of like an encouraging mantra. The beautiful legend that you see, I wrote it as it was told to me by the Sufi imams. But not just that.
The programming here at Maysles is really unique. We define documentary in the broadest way possible, allowing us to show a wide range of films here. And that's really enjoyable.
Welcome to Maysles Cinema. Thanks so much for being here for this super special live performance presentation of filmmaker Courtney Stevens' Terra Femme. Please enjoy the show.
She documents a rite of passage, which took place when her boat crossed into the Arctic Circle itself.
It's a very eclectic group of programmers. They pay equal attention to the local community and things that might interest people. And then there's their own personal interest as curators and as programmers. And then there's topical stuff. But everyone is so amazingly thoughtful in terms of the choices they make.
Something always was ready to happen at Attica.
What is the legacy of Attica in your mind, and how can we carry the revolutionary spirit of Attica in our, collective struggle against the prison system today?
The story of Attica is the story of prisoners who had no power at all, none, who rose up, against the system, against the state. And it's also the story of what the state will do to gain control and repress that spirit.
One of my favorite festivals here is the Black Panther Party Festival.
Instead of it being called civil rights in the future, we're going to have to label it a human rights struggle, or the struggle for human rights.
The camaraderie of that festival, being in space with Panthers, former Panthers, it's not something that happens other places, right? It's unique to Maysles Documentary Center.
We had to make a difference. And Malcolm was just the beginning of us making that difference. He told us that we had to do it, and we just reached inside to do it.
We have an African?
Congo in Harlem is the only ongoing film and event series in the country dedicated to the politics, culture, history of Congo. We really just envisioned the series as being a place where actually Congo is celebrated. The culture, the music, the food.
We wanted to just welcome everyone today to Congo in Harlem here at Maysles Cinema. This is a nonprofit cinema. We're a totally volunteer effort putting the series together. And so we really thank you for coming out and supporting us with your ticket donations.
I'll be very interested in knowing your time in Congo. What are your best memories?
I'm sure I have some great memories, but I've forgotten them.
A lot of filmmakers come here and they're really surprised at how small the cinema is. Because they have this idea of New York being just sort of the big stage. But then as soon as they're in their Q&A with the audience, they really just see how intimate and warm and also challenging. The audiences here can be really tough. We actually try to program challenging things where people can really, from opposing viewpoints, can really get into it.
Good evening. Welcome everyone to the Teen Documentary Showcase. The teenagers have been working on these films all year. This is a whole nother side of Maysles that's really, really important to what we do. We're incredibly proud of it.
From the very beginning, education was a key component of the documentary center as well as the cinema. Teen Producers Academy, we try to foster an interest in the general Harlem area in terms of sending them out to shoot footage and just kind of learn about the neighborhood. I want them to make a film that really does educate me, that really does help me come to terms with my own implicit biases about a particular group or a particular person. It's always a surprise, and it's amazing to see this journey from first idea to final film.
Art has been
an amazing instructor, and the camaraderie and the independence that you get at Maysles, your ideas are never shut down. Being able to have like constant like uplifting by not only the instructors but your peers around you is a really good experience.
I've been working here at Maysles Documentary Center since April of last year. I like working as a projectionist and a house manager because of my history as a student here. I see myself being a part of Maysles really, regardless if I'm working here or not, but for the rest of my life.
I feel like when you walk into the cinema here and spend any amount of time here at the Doc Center, you feel like family, and you walk away feeling like family.